What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the RGR Football channel. Today is another film room, and I know you guys are excited about this player because I've seen his stock growing and growing and growing over the past month and a half. Jonathan Mingo, wide receiver out of Mississippi, Ole Miss, if you don't know where that is at the college level. 6'2", 220 pounds of athleticism. He does have above average arms you're looking for from those big guys. I wish they were a little bit longer. Huge 10-inch plus hands. This is a fantastic, sculpted, physical receiver. Big, he's fast, he has all of the things you're looking for. And the best part about Jonathan Mingo is that, again, he did test as a very good athlete. Ran a 4.46. That's good for him. I think he's a bit faster with his acceleration on tape than he ran at the combine with that 1.54 split. Nearly jumped 40 inches in the air and then almost an 11-inch broad jump. So, also 22 reps on the bench. I think that's important because his play strength is indicative of somebody who does bench pretty well, and he did a good job there with those 32-inch arms. So, physical, long-armed wide receiver with all the ability in the world to go make plays down the field. He can do things with the ball in his hands, and as we're going to see here, I think that the fact that they used him in a ton of different ways really opens up for an Andy Reid type offense. Let's go ahead and jump in. What I want to start off with mentioning is that he lined up everywhere except quarterback for the Ole Miss Rebels. He lined up at running back, inline tight end, halfback, slot, Z, X, all of these different places, detached tight end as well. He also got schemed up a lot at Ole Miss, which schemes in and fits into what Andy Reid wants to do as well, because he is one of those guys, we all know, that wants to scheme up his playmakers in open positions. He's in the slot here. He's going to jet motion from right to left and find his way into the end zone with a nice little screen pass, essentially, with these guys working out in front of him. We see this happen a lot in Kansas City, where you have guys moving from one side to the other and essentially getting in the way of, this is almost kind of like how the Chiefs used Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney in the Super Bowl. They motioned them from one way to the other. Yes, they had them breaking off the other way, but they used the man coverage against the defense and got this guy wide open because they ran him into multiple people there who kind of picked him off. And then one thing he adds that we know that Andy Reid loves is a blocker. He's an above average blocker and a really willful effort blocker. He's going to do a good job of squaring up this cornerback and just drives him into the sideline. He does not care about any of that stuff. He's very, very physical. He doesn't care about what he has to do. He's on the field. They moved him all over the place, and he was an effort player everywhere. Plus, effort is a huge thing for me. And when you have a receiver with the ability to, not just line up anywhere he's asked to line up, but compete at every position. The fact that they used him in pass blocking, the fact they used him in the run blocking department, the fact that they had him blocking as much as they did tells me that he is a very goal-oriented player. And for the Chiefs, for a Chiefs organization that is very goal-oriented on winning Super Bowls, I think that really ties into everything with the younger player, maybe not as young. He was a senior this past year at the Senior Bowl. Got to see him do some things after the catch down the field. Catching the ball down the field was another area that he does well. But again, when I say lining up everywhere, here he is at the bottom of your screen, lined up against press man coverage on the line of scrimmage. So we do have a rep here of him playing against press. He didn't play against it a ton, but what we're going to get to see here is an outside plant foot there, jumping back inside, stacking that corner, and physically working his hands. That's what you need to see, because when it comes to playing wide receiver on the outside at the X, you're going to see some press coverage, especially in the NFL. You have to be able to work your hands. So we're going to see here is that jab step to the outside. You have that corner moving a little bit to his right. He's moving this way a little bit, and that's where you see the escape up the field. He's essentially running this rub route for the tight end in the slot here who's going to come off here, but this play ends up going to Mingo because safety works down to cover that flat offensive player, and then as Mingo works, again, he is working through contact here, again, using those hands, using the press against that corner, and work the hands, and then stacks and gets vertical, adjusts to the ball down the field, tracking, pretty good tracker as a receiver. He does have some contact issues through the route at times. You'll see him get a little lazy with his hands and not always fight through contact, as we'll see on one of the plays next. But it's a very good understanding that he's going to have an ability to catch this football. Here's that outstretched position from the receiver. This is what I like to see. Ball tracking, physically using your arms at their peak. And again, as a quarterback who's not very good in Jackson Dart, throwing the ball all over the place for Jonathan Mingo, bad, good, worse. There's a lot of different things you could see out of his play. But the one constant is that the effort's there. I do think that he has the tools to play on the outside. He's going to play, just like I said, just about everywhere with that physical play of his, with that size and that 220-pound frame. He moves so much better for a guy who is 220 pounds. It's kind of ridiculous, to be honest with you. We get to see him over here on a wide receiver screen, and this is where we get to see the speed. Okay, there's a lot of space playing here. He's just going to kind of come back to the football, running underneath screen, stiff arm that guy right there, and boom, he's gone. Get him in space. He can really take off. He has deep speed. He has some acceleration. You see it in his routes from time to time where he will get upfield quicker. It's more of a consistency thing for Mingo, and that's probably why he didn't produce much until he was a senior at Ole Miss. Not to mention their offense is really not based through the receivers, and they like to spread the ball around. They like to run the ball. They had Zach Evans and Quinshon Judkins at running back last year. They really wanted to get them involved. But what you see, again, is the speed. Look, the ball in. It does come a little bit low, so he has to more cradle that football into his body, and then he takes off, and no one's going to catch him in the open field there. I think he'll have a little bit of more of a problem doing that in the NFL because the guys will be much faster. But angles, he does have the ability, again, to win vertically. Use him in some schemed ways like you're seeing here with Ole Miss, but that contact balance is a good thing he does have. It's hard to bring this guy down in open space because he possesses contact balance, but also quick twitch ability. You didn't get to see it here, but right there he stops. He starts moving to the left, but using that stiff arm to his right, and all of those things translate. A guy who runs with the ball well after the catch in an Andy Reid offense. We have seen the ability to do really special things in this offense, but here he is in a different alignment this time as an F tight end. For those of you who don't know, there's a Y and an F tight end. Typically, your Y tight ends are the inline blockers that can release, they can block and do all those things. An F tight end specifically, typically, when they're lined up this way, they're being able to line up out wide in the slot, off the line, in the backfield, guys that move around a ton. Travis Kelce is a Y and an F tight end because he plays inline and he plays everywhere else. There are some specific tight ends in this class that are F tight ends. I think Zach Kuntz is a very good basic understanding of that. I think Sam Laporta is the same. They're F tight ends. You don't want them playing in line on an offense. You want them detached, running routes. But we see Jonathan Mingo detached as an F tight end. And he played in line as well. He pass blocked for them. And he's going to do a really nice job here of releasing and getting vertical and just beating this guy with speed down the field. And then we see another underthrown football because this should be a touchdown. It should be an easy touchdown, but Jackson Dart misses this throw, and this is where you see I'd like to see him fight through contact a little bit better. Maybe stop. If you're going to end up having to stop anyway, come back to that football, jump in the air a little bit. If you're going to have to decelerate anyway, use your speed against the corner since you already have him stacked. He doesn't know where the football is, so slow down a little bit, maybe accelerate, maybe stop, jump for the football, something a little bit different. You do see this end up happening quite a bit with some underthrows here and there, but again, the speed on that wheel route it's exceptional. He's a very versatile player. You can use him anywhere on the offense, and I think in a guy like Andy Reid's hands, this guy is not just a moldable ball of clay. He's immediately weaponized in Andy Reid's offense. They can do so many different things with him, with that body type, with the speed down the field. Again, would like to see him be able to go and get that football, not just wait for it to drop in the bucket, because this is slightly underthrown and it should be an easy touchdown, but go get it, do something with it. But that's going to be something that works with him. He does have some catch radius as well, so he possesses some really nice deceleration as well. So again, here he is now in a reduced split slot look from the offense. He's just going to run a curl, just a real you could say that that's a curl. You could say that that's just a turn route or an option route, just where he's turning looking for the football. But he decelerates very quickly in a lot of his routes. He ran a ton of curls and a ton of comeback routes, just very, very, very short turning to the football kind of routes at Ole Miss. His deceleration is really impressive. He does it from everywhere on the field, and I know that he's not like super exploding out of his stance here, but again, that translates throughout all of his reps. The deceleration in every one of them is there. He's able to bring his hips down, slow his feet down, but also turn really, really quickly at the same time. I love that ability that he shows from there. He also can sell routes with movement. He's not like the most consistent route runner in the world, but he does have loose hips. He has good intention, and he can sell things with his head and usage of his body. So he's just going to run a little in, up, and out, but another badly located football. But what you notice here is that when he's going to do all of this, it's done with his shoulders and his head. Those are the two ways you can really sell routes, and that also translates to the NFL. When you have this kind of look here, you've got one safety lined up. You kind of understand that the way that this corner is playing, this looks like it's Brian Branch, so number 14, more of a slot corner than a real safety. He's off and notice to the outside. So you're going to release to the inside as the receiver, then you're going to square up, okay? You want to sell that you could go in, you could go out, you could go up. You want to make that safety think of where you might be going, and you can see as the play unfolds, that safety's thinking. He's slowing down. He's not moving right there. Like he's not really backing up. He doesn't really know what to do, and he ends up cutting this right at the right time. A good timing-based play as you see that other receiver coming downfield. He cuts underneath it. Well-timed. Boom, right there. Gets to the out, and does all that with his head, his shoulders, and his speed. Because you can sell routes with speed as well. He's not like running out just trying to get down the field as quickly as possible. He's setting up a timing throw for the quarterback. We know that the Chiefs like timing throws. That's what their offense is predicated upon, is getting the ball out quickly at times and then using that timing, that predicated quickness to extend to other parts of the field. And I like this timing route here from Jonathan Mingo in the slot, running underneath that receiver and then going to the out, adjusting to the football, sliding into it. He does a lot of different things really well, and the biggest area I have for him is consistency problems. He does flash everything you want at times, but it's not put together all in the same time, and the athletic body that he has, and this is where we get to see a little bit of his catch radius, even though the ball is thrown out of bounds. Mingo does a good job here, again, of extending to the out, inside, going to the out, and there's that extension to the outside. What I like about his game, again, is it translates so many different ways. You can play anywhere you want. He doesn't necessarily have to play in the slot. He doesn't necessarily have to play out wide. You can use him in so many different areas, lining him up and getting mismatches. And I think that's the big takeaway from his film, is that no, he's not going to be the most complete guy coming out. He's going to be a guy you still have to adapt. You still have to adjust your game plan to. But he can develop. When you have that athletic ability and this ability here to extend away, you can use those in different ways. So he sets up that defender again as well, and then he breaks off to the outside, creating separation. That stuff is really impressive, and it does translate. I know it's against Vanderbilt, and this was the big game that he had against Vanderbilt, where he just absolutely went off for 247 yards and 2 touchdowns. But at the end of the day, it's how you run your routes, it's how you sell your routes, it's how you make corners believe what you are doing to be able to make things happen. So he's going to be a vertical option in the NFL, because once again, this game against Vanderbilt, he played almost exclusively out wide, whether it was on the line, whether it was off the line. He did everything there. They did also line him up at that F tight end, moved him around a lot, but he's got vertical speed to continue. Not just downfield ability and some short area quickness to him, but he also has long speed. He does get faster as he's going down there. So he just keeps tracking and tracking and tracking and tracking. When he has some off coverage to deal with, he can really do some damage. So I'm a big fan of his not only fit with the Kansas City Chiefs, but what he can do in so many different ways to hurt a defense. He has that ball tracking ability downfield. He can extend away from his body. He can run nice loose routes. He can block very well. And then you can just make him like an extra tight end. So that also kind of builds into what the Chiefs want to do with an extra tight ends on the field. You know, they want to play 13 personnel. You can kind of use him as a tight end in the pass blocking game, in the run blocking game, but also have him as a receiver. So he's such a versatile piece that I think that Andy Reid and company will be so drawn to what he can bring the Chiefs. And I think he's going to be a day 2 pick, probably an early day 2 pick. I think he could go in the second round. And honestly, I'm starting to warm up to the idea of the Chiefs drafting him at 63. I think that would be a perfect fit for the offense, a perfect fit for him to develop. So again, I hope you guys are seeing this and understanding what I'm seeing. There are some things to work with, some consistency issues with Jonathan Mingo, but he's a very fascinating player to watch, can do everything you want in an offense. So I hope you all enjoyed watching Jonathan Mingo today. You guys can please make sure you're checking out the RGR football channel for all of my content here, for Ryan's content, the rest of the teams. We are going to be having that draft guide release. Make sure you use the code RGR23, get your discount on the draft guide, and we're going to have more content for you over at NFL33.com with all of our breakdowns. Our draft boards will be there too. This has been a ton of fun getting to watch all these guys, watching so many different players, I think more than I did last year. So I really do hope you enjoyed this breakdown of Jonathan Mingo, wide receiver out of Ole Miss, big physical dude that I think can bring a lot of versatility to the Chiefs offense. You guys have a fantastic day, and we will see you next time. Just like this defense won't be seeing Jonathan Mingo next time. Whew! Just running downfield, taking souls, and catching the football.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.